You! Stop! Du bist under arrest! Christian, han har haft travlt. Fyldt med narstreger, han har talt med en af udviklerne. Med AeroSoft. Og hvad sker der med tyskerne og alle deres underlige simulatorspil? Så, se lige med her. Og for lige se ham derovre i hjørnet, han har godt nok skammet sig helt vildt. Fy, ja. Hey, den anden vej, du. Kig den vej. Hey.
Vi kom ind til AeroSoft, der specialiserer sig i simulatorspil, og jeg snakker med Fabian, der er Products...
Head of Producing.
Head of Producing, so. Can you tell us about some of the partnerships you have with the special simulating developers?
Yeah, well, we're working with developers which are into simulation. Basically, not everyone can do simulation because you need to be into a topic. If you want to do a shooter, you need to know how to, well, you need to know how to use a weapon, but you don't need to know how about war really. But in simulation, if you're doing firefighting simulator, for example, you need to be an expert at firefighting. And that's really a challenge for every dev team, because you need to get an expert in your specific topic. That means, for example, on firefighting, the dev team actually, it took like 3 to 4 weeks sleeping, standing by firefighters and working their asses off to understand what firefighters do. Because even after that, customers are always knowing that better because they are a fan of that topic and fan of that genre, and they know best about that thing.
Okay, so sometimes you develop something completely new, something outside the norm. How do you find which niches are worthy to make a simulating game out of?
It's the hardest part actually in simulation, because simulation is a niche, but every topic is even more niche. And how to find the niche in the niche that's still worth it to develop. And basically it's like, what does you and me see every day? These things could always be interesting. So public transport, for example, but also like police, firefighting. Well, actually, what is Lego doing as next set is always a good hint, because Lego is a really big company and they know best about topics that are really interesting and which topics kids play with. So basically, firefighting, police, but also cars, for example, are super interesting topics, and Lego does it right. It might work as simulator.
Yeah, okay. So when you hit or release a game, you sort of get feedback from the players. What do they enjoy? Do they enjoy it enough? Do you have big enough sales? So how do you sort of build the audience after that?
Yeah. Community work, community development, I would even say, is a really, really huge thing. Actually, every game of us has a Discord, its own dedicated Discord where fans hang out. But also Steam reviews, etc., giving us a great feedback about what customer likes and what they don't like. And actually, that's one of our main discussion points in every meeting. What is the feedback from customer and how can we get this feedback into the upcoming development? For example, in our firefighting simulator, everyone was asking for the volunteer firefighters because it's a huge thing in Germany. Everyone knows someone who's in the voluntary firefighting teams. So we actually decided to do a free DLC about that topic, where you actually be part of the volunteer and not of the professional firefighters. But also another topic, which car should we release next? Which city could be the next for a bus simulator or a tram simulator? All that we take in consideration with the community and actually want to give them the product they like, because it's a niche.
Yeah, a lot of people might not think about it, but AeroSoft is kind of a publisher, and then you have a lot of partners that develop the games for you. Some of it are partners you have for a long time, or some it's new partners as well?
Just a few, yeah. It's always hard to understand if you're not working in the game industry. It's between what is the developer, what is the publisher. But yeah, we are a pure publisher. We don't have any in-house development. We work with 14 studios these days together. As you said, most of them are like for 10, even 12. I've been in the company for 15 years and I know some of them been there before. Their studios been growing with us. I would call it more like, we are not a typical publisher where you hire a studio, do a project and you're searching for the next one, but we want to build an ecosystem with them and be more like a family and friends. It should be fun to work in this industry, and it's not all about money in that industry, because everyone could earn way more money in the, if he goes to work in the bank industry, finance industry or something like that. But in the game industry, it should be about fun as well and building sustainable business with all of partners, so everyone gets their share. Is one of the key points of that, I would say.
Okay. So sometimes, as your job, you have to listen to pitches from other studios for ideas that may be worthy to build a game on. Not throwing any shade, not naming any names. What's the most terrible pitch you've ever heard?
Well, it's most like the ideas you get on parties like, I can do this simulator and that will be the best simulator ever. And you're like, okay, I don't think this will ever work. Yeah. But in general, I would say everything what is modern, so a topic that plays in the current time is always worth to listen at. Things that go into medieval, etc. are not really worth it in simulation. We tried it a few times, but never hit it really with that one. But pitch me a new bus simulator, or pitch me the topic we don't know about that it could be a thing. For example, just a year ago, some Polish guy pitched me a trucks game, which called Heavy Duty Challenge. I wasn't aware there's a sport that's called European Truck Trials, where it's about off-road trucking, not about racing, but going precision navigation through tracks and canyons and so on with trucks. I never did hear about it, but I really loved it. And well, we got a project with them going. But sometimes there's like, hey, we can do a pizza simulator, or we can do XYZ simulator. We're like a hiking simulator, a walking simulator. But also there are like projects like the what is it actually called? The power wash simulator, where I would always say like, this is no thing. It can't be a thing, and boom, it blows up and people loving it. Sometimes it's surprisingly goat simulator. It's not always like, this is a good pitch, this is a bad pitching idea. But if you have a studios that have an idea of what they pitch and have a vision and are expert at their topic, it's always worth to listen, I would say.
Okay, yeah. So I think this is the end of the interview, but once the camera is off, maybe we can talk about making a simulator about covering Gamescom.
The interview simulator.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So thanks for your time.
No problem, it was a pleasure.
Fedt. Puh, så må du videre.